Find all the links to everything Pants Free Podcast exclusively at pantsfreepod.com.
Here's a serious thing, because a friend of ours, of course, Andrew Tiny, as many of you know him, his father, for many years, was on our radio show. And in fact...
I thought you were about to say his father. He's been his father for many years.
Well, no, he was such a gracious, wonderful human being.
Doug.
Papa Tiny. And he, I guess, as we're recording this podcast, is in the middle of heart surgery.
You should be waking up about now.
Well, I just want to say speedy recovery to our friend, and our best to Tiny, who I'm sure is, not having fun waiting for his dad to get out of surgery and stuff like that. His father is seriously, genuinely one of the nicest guys and sweetest human beings on earth, and so we love him and wish him well. And
you know what's a bit disconcerting to me is that he calls his dad by his first name.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever say his name on the. I mean, I guess we could.
His name is Doug. I don't think it's any secret.
Yeah. So Doug, or as I like to call him, Papa Doug. He and this is a true story. When I was in Portland, when I first moved there, I didn't have a car for many years, and when Nick J. Miles came on the scene, he used to give us rides everywhere. But before that, Papa Doug would actually drive Tiny and I to work. I would take the train in to downtown, and then Papa Doug would pick me up. So we always had these great conversations, and he was such a fan of the show and so interested in what we were doing. And he would call in occasionally, or we would call him. And I just really do have an affection for him. So it makes me hope only the best for him even more, because I really feel a connection with the guy. So, I hope that all has gone well, and by the time this podcast is published, Papa Doug will be fine and, twerking around in his hospital bed.
Yeah, I think he's a big twerker, by the way.
I think so. I mean, him and Mama Tiny. Oh man, those two like to twerk the night away.
Twerking fools.
Yeah. So Papa Doug, I hope maybe if you are listening to the podcast while you're recovering, that all things went well and you're feeling great. And I'm sure you're looking good, and we hope to hear from you soon. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Marconi.
You know who I was texting back and forth with the other day, and it just made me so happy, because he loves the podcast. It's the king of bread, Dave's Killer Bread, Dave Dahl. You know him? He's our captain. He's our official sponsor.
He's my friend too.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's a guy we know that just happens to be the king of bread. How many of your friends are kings of anything, right?
Yeah.
So Dave, who makes to me, and for my money, the best bread on earth. That's maybe a biased opinion, but you should try it for yourself, because seriously, every time, like just the other night, my girlfriend Sierra and we love having grilled cheese. Just a simple, grilled cheese is nice, and when it gets to the fall weather, and some soup, and nothing tastes better than grilled cheese on Dave's Killer Bread. I like the power seat, because most cities that have, in Portland, you have a bigger variety, and online you can order any of the types of bread. But in most of the stores in the cities outlining, you'll get like Power Seed, 21 grain, and like the Blues bread. And out of those three, I seem to love the Power Seed the most. That doesn't mean I don't love the others. But I don't want to say, because these breads are like children to me, adopted children that needed my love. And but we had that the other night with a little Tillamook cheese. Oh, delish.
Oh, hang on a second.
Anytime I talk about Dave's Killer Bread, Nick's phone goes off, because people are listening going, hey, how do I get that bread?
Yeah. That's right? Exactly what happened.
That's what's going on right now.
It's
Dave, who actually listens to the podcast, is always gracious and wonderful, and we are glad to have his sponsorship here for almost, what have we been doing this Pants Free podcast for? Over a year now. Nick, do you realize this is our year anniversary of the Pants Free podcast?
Really?
Yeah, we've been doing it.
Seems like so much longer time.
Well, it feels like a prison sentence to you, I guess. Either way, we are glad to have Dave's Killer Bread. And anything you're doing for meals or lunch or any kind of bread-related activities, please include Dave's Killer Bread. Just say no to bread on drugs. Go to daveskillerbread.com.
Pants Free Podcast. Now, once again, here they are, shipshape and Bristol fashion, Marconi and Nick Miles.
Well, Nick, we like to fill people's heads with thoughts, pontifications, things that are going on in the world. We're always trying to give you a snapshot of what happened in the week in news, and we do it without pants.
I am pants-free as we speak.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it, or out of it, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's time for pants-free news.
And now, it's time for Pants-Free News.
Nick, do you get excited when you listen back to the podcast and you hear the stuff, like introducing Pants-Free News? Do you get a little, like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up a little?
Yeah, it makes me sound like this isn't just two guys goofing around who haven't got anything better to do.
It sounds like something's going on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like maybe there's a couple of dollars involved in this production.
Wow, this is a high-dollar production. Little do they know that it's just, we paced together a couple of sound effects, and we hired a guy for a couple of bucks to voice a thing, and here we are.
Right.
Anyway, what do you have in your news, sir?
Did you hear about the problems with Obamacare? Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Yeah. It's pretty funny because something that is going to help so many people, all you hear about from a certain side of the viewpoint is that it's awful and the website doesn't work. You know what happened? The demand for affordable health care is so high that so many people went to the website that it's slow. Wow. Look, they didn't expect... Even their expectations were lower than were exceeded. So the website has a few glitches, but rest assured, because President Obama says, unlike the government, these problems are fixable.
Right.
So what do you know, Nick? What did you read? What did you hear about this?
Well, the interesting thing is, first of all, they got the porn industry right online. Is it that hard for the government to get one website right?
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe the government should, the web director should take a few tips from porn. Just check out Pornhub and see what they're doing.
My porn doesn't glitch. Why should the website glitch?
I never have a problem wherever I am.
I don't get it.
On the plane, in the car.
And they're both necessary human services.
Right, absolutely. They both deal in human health. Maybe I should.
I don't go to the doctor anyway. I usually work out what's. I do have medical background, but I usually work out what's wrong.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I've been wheezing and coughing a lot recently, and I was thinking, it's not an infection, it's not asthma. I couldn't work out what it was, and then I realized that I'm allergic to Splenda, and every time I ate something with Splenda in, I'd start wheezing.
Oh, wow.
Now I cut Splenda out of my diet. Guess what? Wheezing's gone.
Oh, man. I'm apparently allergic to happiness. I don't know if that's anything.
You spread doom amongst everybody.
Yeah, I'm much happier. I'm allergic to, see, if I'm unhappy, then I'm happy. And then I'm allergic to that, too.
Right.
I'm never satisfied.
It's the news! It's the news!
Did you see the story about this Florida shoplifter?
Yeah, apparently a shoplifting mom she was stealing groceries, and for her and her son, and instead of, I guess, the arresting officer, instead of booking her, throwing her in the hoosegow, he decided to buy her some groceries.
I have a couple problems with the story, but the fact is she walked out of the store with $300 worth of groceries in a shopping cart that she didn't pay for, and that's when the police officer got involved. And now the police officer bought her $100 worth of groceries, but now she's getting aid from a food bank. Did it not occur to her that she could go to a food bank in the first place?
Yeah, here's the thing, though. If you're in that situation, sometimes it takes some crazy circumstances to get you right on track. I mean, we've all done things that maybe we're not proud of. I'm not saying stealing $300 worth of groceries is a good thing, but I'm assuming, was it at like a Walmart or something?
It was at a Publix market in Florida.
All right, so Publix is kind of like a Winco Foods or whatever. And so this woman wasn't like shopping at Whole Foods, grabbing food off the shelves and being greedy.
Right.
She sounds like she just needed some help. Right. Yeah, she probably could have gone to this food shelter or figured it out legally. And it's unfortunate that, but the thing is, sometimes in life, even if you do something wrong, a kindness might turn things around for you. Maybe this woman in a year will be doing the same kind of thing for other people, just randomly helping people out.
Right.
What if that was, like it's like a pay it forward kind of thing.
Right.
And maybe this police officer could relate. Maybe at one time he didn't have a job and, he had to do, unspeakable things to find food. We don't know. But
right.
Either way,
it was actually a female police officer, but.
Well, I think it's a nice story, and yes, it's not okay to steal. I'll tell you this though: when I was first moving out on my own, I was short on cash, and I used to stuff bologna down my pants.
Oh!
don't
put it
don't
in your
think
mouth.
I'm not without mistakes, Nick. So don't judge too harshly.
When news breaks, we're there to mock it. Hands-free news.
So I hate this, but I also cannot stop reading it. Kim and Kanye are back in the news. They got engaged. The ring's supposedly worth $8 million. He did a big old production. He hired AT&T Park in San Francisco. Had a 50-piece band. It's interesting.
So they get married. And they're getting married, and finally we'll be able to see if Kanye West will find a way to hate himself.
Right.
If you're married, after a while, you start hating everything, right? And he seems to be pretty in love with Kanye.
Well, first of all, they live in San Francisco, and second of all, it seems like, I don't know, she's already had his baby, and it sounded like he tried to do an amazing marriage proposal, but $8 million for the ring, that just makes everybody feel crappy.
Right. Exactly. Well, the most annoying thing now about pop culture is the people that say things like, oh, for somebody that seems to be disgusted by these types of humans, you seem to know a lot about them.
Right.
And I can tell you this. My girlfriend mentioned to me that Kim and Kanye got engaged. And then I follow Jenny High Five on Instagram, and she posted a funny joke about it. And that's as much as I knew about it. And then now we're doing this story on our podcast, but I don't really know a lot. Like you just told me stuff I didn't know. So he did it in in the stadium where the Giants play?
Yeah, he hired out AT&T Stadium in San Francisco and a 50-piece band. I mean, that was probably a $100,000 gig right there.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the world of vapidity, unfortunately, it wins over anything quality. So we know what's going on with a lady like Kim Kardashian, and doesn't mean that she's a bad person or a person that no one should like or anything like that. It just means that, instead of like finding interesting things to fulfill our lives, we look at vapid human beings that are awful people to turn to for entertainment.
Right.
And so it's nothing more than that. And so when people say to me, like, you seem to know a lot about it, well, I may not be an expert in Starbucks, but I know they sell pumpkin spice lattes. Does that make me somebody that consumes too much media? I don't know. And my prediction with the Kim and Kanye thing is, Kanye doesn't seem like a relaxed gentleman. I mean, he will be a supportive father and, whatever. But I just can't see. He gets worked up over stuff on Twitter like a little kid. So I can't imagine him being someone that anyone would want to spend an amount of time with, for years and years. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would predict, with Kim Kardashian's track record, this can't go right. Do you think? I mean, how long do you think this could last?
I hope it does, because you know what? I wouldn't wish either of those on anybody else.
Right.
So while
definitely
they're together, the rest of us are safe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it doesn't seem that Kim has calmed Kanye down at all. So that doesn't. So far we have seen zero change in his demeanor. Maybe even more verbose and annoying. But maybe she is the thing that'll keep him from killing a guy.
When news breaks, we're the first there to mock it.
What else do you have in your news, Nickel?
The last story is kind of a sad one that we have today, but it seems by accident we found out that Casey Kasem is dying.
And now, a request and dedication. Nick J. Miles calls in and writes, Dear Casey, I'm a long-haul trucker from Wilmington, Virginia. I haven't seen my wife and kids for 16 years. Could you please play Where Have You Been by Rihanna? Well, Nicky J, here's your request and dedication.
Now, we're up to our long-distance dedication. And this one is about kids and pets and a situation that we can all understand, whether we have kids or pets or neither. It's from a man in Cincinnati, Ohio. And here's what he writes. Dear Casey, this may seem to be a strange dedication request, but I'm quite sincere, and it'll mean a lot if you play it. Recently, there was a death in our family. He was a little dog named Snuggles, but he was most certainly a part of... Let's go start again. From coming out of the record. Play the record, okay? Please. See, when you come out of those up-tempo damn numbers, man, it's impossible to make those transitions, and then you got to go into somebody dying. You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for, but damn it, if we can't come out of a slow record, I don't understand it. Is Don on the phone? Okay, I want a damn concerted effort to come out of a record that isn't a up-tempo record every time I do a damn death dedication. Now, make it, and I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week. Just last damn time, I want somebody to use his brain to not come out of a damn record that is, that's up-tempo, and I got to talk about a dog dying.
I love Casey Kasem, and I'll tell you a few things about him that, from just my personal perspective, and that why this makes me so sad, because he's an old gentleman. I think he's in his 80s. What does he have?
It doesn't say, actually. It just says he has terminal disease.
So he's got some kind of a thing. But for years, obviously, when I first started listening to radio, I'm a dyslexic human, and I learned things by hearing. That's why I was so drawn to radio. So people telling a story or anything that would give me information, I could learn and retain that information by hearing it. Casey Kasem would always have these facts about music and stuff like that on his American Top 40 show. And as I started in radio, one of my first jobs was playing his show on the radio every week. So that was like my internship. It's like, hey, you get to run Casey Kasem. So I was very excited. Now, when I was a 15-year-old kid, I was a radio nerd. I wanted to get into radio, and everything I knew was, I listened to the radio and I learned and that kind of thing. But Casey Kasem, until I knew about Howard Stern, was like the biggest star in radio. And so I always, was interested in that. And I found out that Casey Kasem recorded his shows on Wednesday at the Westwood One Studios in Hollywood. So I found out the office number, and I would call it pretending to be a disc jockey at the radio station that played his countdown.
Right.
And I said, I just wanted to do a little interview. Now, somewhere I have a cassette because Casey Kasem answered his phone and we set up an interview, and I talked to him for maybe 5 minutes. And he got it. As soon as he picked up the phone, he knew that I was just a 15-year-old kid that wanted to talk to him.
Rumbled.
But he played along with it and was the sweetest, humblest, nicest guy. And I asked him to do the Shaggy voice, because he did Shaggy for that, and he did the voice of Robin in the original Super Friends on TV, cartoons, and many other cartoon voices over the years. And always was just genuinely a sweet person, and I always kept that with me. And then later on, and this is only a few years ago, maybe 2005, when I was coming back to Portland, I thought, it would be great to have Casey Kasem on and just, tell him that story and talk to him about a million other things and kind of get his thoughts on the world of radio and where things are going.
Right.
So I guess on the internet, it was easy to find that he was like Casey at AOL at the time. So I just emailed him and left him my number. He left me a voicemail, and I still have it somewhere. If I find it, I'll insert it into the podcast.
This is Casey calling. Check with me in 3 or 4 months with regard to the interview, okay? Have a happy new year to you and yours. And nice hearing from you. And thanks for the compliments. Bye-bye now.
But he sounded a little older and a little frailer. He was still doing countdowns and stuff at the time. But he was like, hey, Marconi, it's Casey calling. And, your heart just stops because it's a childhood hero. He's calling your home voicemail, leaving a message. Who even does that now? And he was
Who even
like,
has home voicemail?
You're right, I know. And so he was like genuinely like sweet and the same kind of thing that I remembered. And was like, yeah, I'm going to be busy through the next couple of months, but get back with me and we'll set something up. And we never ended up connecting, but just the fact that he left that voicemail for me was enough. I mean, it meant a lot, and I always think of that in fond memories. And the fact that he's, about to pass away is sad. And I am friends with his wife on Facebook, and you see, because there's a scrutiny going on.
The maid was fired for supposedly stealing toilet paper, and the maid was suing them. That's how all this information came out.
Is that really what happened? Because I mean, could you can actually be fired for stealing toilet paper?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've bought toilet paper since like the 70s.
Don't be a tell someone you love about the Pants Free Podcast. Thank you. Now, please put your pants back on.
Well, Nick, have you had enough?
I've always had enough.
Nick was done before the podcast even started.
I was done Wednesday last week.
Well, that's another edition of the Pants Free Podcast. Nick, it's good to have you back, even though you're toothless.
Oh, no, you can't see any of it.
Yeah.
It's hidden.
It hasn't stopped you from eating Dave's Killer Bread, has it?
No, it hasn't.
Well, there you go.
And various other things. Although I will tell you, here's a leaked piece of information.
No.
I am 1 pound away from losing 40 pounds.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
and how do you do it, Nick? Were you counting calories? Are you lifting weights? Are you working out? What happened?
No, I had surgeries.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I had half my removed.
Well, and remember, don't forget, that's a scary story right there in and of itself. That, however, won't be part of the Halloween special Pants Free Podcast. But you can leave your scary stories. Just go to pantsfreepod.com and leave your messages for us. But until next time, I am Belonius Francine Marconi, along with Nick J. Miles, who's saying...
it's time to clean up your life and get yourself a new pair of not pants.
Keep your pants on the ground and keep reaching for the stars?
Yes, keep your pants on the ground. Keep your pants in the closet and keep reaching for the stars.
Pantalones a libro!
Pants Free Podcast.